Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to Maximum Weight, or as I'm probably going to start calling it, the season that is going to scar me. And the reason for that is actually pretty simple. Our car is incredibly heavy compared to the AI, and that puts us on the back burner quite aggressively when it comes to the cornering style, which is the most important one. And it is going to make our lives pretty bad. Let's just put it like that. A good example of that is how the last couple of races have gone. Suzuka and Melbourne, we went on the podium for either of those, while we capped both Leclerc and Hamilton in the podiums in the first couple of races. So yeah, as you can imagine, any sort of safety car, virtual safety car is going to screw us over because we are going to maximize fuel as well. Currently, we are still developing car parts. That shouldn't come as a big surprise. We'll have the underfloor and the side pods done before we go to China. But we'll have to see what is actually usable, because I do believe that we have already kind of prepped our first car iteration, including the first CFD underfloor. So yeah, the car's going to look like this for the foreseeable future. And our biggest rivals, which of course are going to be the Red Bulls, they don't have a huge advantage on us in anything other than high-speed corners here. But as you can imagine, over the course of time, if you will, it's going to become more of a problem. And potentially here, if we can't do it in this 2026 season, I think the next order of business is going to be to steal Max Verstappen. I think that just has to happen. Steal Max Verstappen. Hamilton hasn't really started grading anyway, so it's not really a good reason to get rid of him. But we might need to weaken Red Bull. We might need to weaken McLaren some way. And honestly, right now, I don't have any good ideas to do that. We should probably also consider repairing and fixing, or rather upgrading some of the facilities. But right now, I don't think that would be a high priority. Getting the race sim to max would be more important. And honestly, upping the hospitality area for going another season would probably be even more important than the other buildings right now. But with that said, we've had a decent start to the season. We need to turn the last two races around. We're going to China. We are going to get a couple of designs done, as I mentioned. But as I also probably mentioned, we're not going to be putting them on the car. Side pods here, we're going to need at least one more design before we do anything of the sort. And the reason for that, again, is just how I like to do designs, which is basically we only put it on the car when it is more of a sizable upgrade, which this would actually kind of be. And again, just to show you just how huge the difference is between a maximum weight piece and a minimum weight piece, putting this one to minimum would be enough for us to be very competitive again when it comes to the cornering stat. So as you can imagine, that weight that we are carrying with us is a problem. But yeah, we're going to get started on this side pod design. And let's face it, the underfloor here is not going to get used either. We're using the third iteration at the moment. We're going to need at least, we're going to need at least one more. I'm just going to get that underway, and then we'll head and see what China has to offer. We're off to a good start here. We are currently during sprint qualifying, and Verstappen has decided that he does not want to participate in sprint qualifying anymore. We're currently 1-2, which is pretty great. Verstappen is half a minute down. And right now, I don't think there's anyone really that can take this away from us. Perhaps Russell? Nope, he only goes third fastest. And with that, we have a great start here in the sprint. But because of the fact that we are going to be incredibly heavy, we're going to have to maximize our fuel reserves. I don't necessarily think that's going to be a... Yeah, it's going to help start first, but when we do this... Yeah, we're not doing this. I'm sorry, everyone. We're not doing this for the sprint. We're not going 65 laps worth of fuel. It would be hilarious to see how slow we would be, but I'm not putting in more than 3 times the recommended amount of fuel. I'll fuel a couple of extra laps here. But yeah, putting in... I think we start 10-15 kilograms usually overweight. So in this case, putting in another 4 kilograms or thereof for a sprint race, I think that is acceptable. But I'm not going to do this. Like, I kind of want to try this just to see just how different the pace would be. Like 110 kilograms worth of fuel in the sprint versus, what was the other thing, 35? You know, we are going to do something a little bit funny here. I'm going to save at this point. And once the sprint is over, we're going to see just how the cars are affected by nearly an additional 100 kilograms worth of fuel compared to the cars around, because that would be fun to actually just have a look at and see how that works out. I think that could be fun. What do I want to do here? I think the soft tire and light will just do the job here. We don't need to push or anything like that. So soft tire and light, we push fuel. Soft tire on light, we push fuel. And we're probably going to start saving ERS battery pretty quickly here. But yeah, I'm happy with this. I know there's someone out there who's calling me a coward, a boring gremlin for not doing what they wanted. But let's see how this goes. That is a terrible start for both of our drivers here. So even, oh, we're just 3.4? Yeah, even 3.4 kilograms extra worth of fuel is guaranteeing a bad start versus medium tires. Russell is on a medium tire and we are not. And we are almost getting overtaken here at the race start because of our fuel load, I believe. But yeah, a good start for us. Verstappen has fallen down to 11th here. Norris and Piastri stand the order, which is great for us again. Let's see what we can do here with Leclerc and Hamilton. And I'm just going to quickly nab the autosave so we can try that little experiment of ours. We're now 7 laps into a sprint, and this is where the fun begins. Because now I think we can actually try and dislodge both Russell and Ocon here, as they've used quite a lot of their mediums already. We have a 13% tire advantage, soft versus medium. And as you can see, we are deploying, we are pulling away, and the goal is very simple. We create a gap, and then we try and maintain that gap till the end of the sprint. And right now, it looks like it's working pretty well, although we are kind of screwing over our drivers at the moment. So we'll go back to neutral. We'll try and manage like this, and hopefully it should be a 1-2 sprint victory as a result. Okay, I'm just seeing something pretty insane here. Russell locked up. Did he lock up into the pit lane there? Because he went into the pit lane.
Things were going smoothly, and the car just locks. But that's just the risk.
I guess he shredded enough tire that Russell had to actually go into the pit lane, because as you can see, he's gone for fresh tires. Again, huge for us. 20% tire advantage now. I think we kind of, again, just have this one in the bag. But yeah, the AI actually went for fresh tires there. I don't think I've really seen that before. But it's definitely just a result of the lockup. Must have lost 10, 20% maybe on those mediums and not really had a choice. Leclerc and Hamilton right now, I am going to go ahead and put both of them to low aggression, just to be on the safe side. And we'll try and keep them going till the end of this sprint as it stands. We're on the final lap of the sprint here. We're still running 1-2 with a 15-second gap down to Ocon. And as a result of that, I've tuned the cars down. We're managing the engine so we don't add any excess wear to them that we don't need to. And with that, we have now secured a 1-2 finish in this sprint. But as I mentioned, we're going to take a look at what happens if we put 110 kilograms in the car for a sprint. So here we are. I just want to reiterate this more just because I'm very curious what's going to happen. So 110 kilograms, the sprint. We are not going to redo it. We're just going to, again, see what kind of happens here. We're going to go full attack just to see if we can stay ahead. And just see how much the extra 80 kilograms of fuel that we have in the car is going to affect us here versus the AI. And you can already kind of see just how badly it's affecting Hamilton here. He's fallen down to 4th at the moment. But yeah, even with full attack, yeah, I don't think we're going to stay ahead for long. Norris picked up some damage. It didn't do that originally. But yeah, plus 77.8 kilograms. I need to just screenshot this because that is just a silly, silly number. And honestly, we are still keeping up. Surprisingly enough, we are still keeping up, but we are burning the tires to make that happen. And yeah, we are falling down the order kind of like I expected here. We are going to have to run light, really. And with that, we're going to fall even further down. So as you can see, this alone just shows you that fuel has a huge effect on the lap times. Look at this. We ran 1-2 with Russell being in between the cars a little bit during the sprint. But we have already lost 10 seconds there in 4 laps, basically, as a result of doing this. In terms of lap times, 37.3 for Russell, 41 and 42 for our drivers. We are the wall at the moment. The wall that you shall not pass. But this is interesting because if... I'm surprised they're having that much of a struggle here getting by us. But yeah, 7 laps, 18 seconds.
Yellow flag here.
If anyone tells you that fuel weight doesn't matter, send them here and tell them that it does matter. Now, exactly how massively it matters is kind of hard to say because we burn tires a little bit more. This is definitely something we can test. And honestly, this sprinter is a good environment for this. So I might just have found my next F1 Manager Guide video. How much does fuel actually affect your lap times? Maybe, but we shall see. Enough of this silly little side project of mine. Sorry for getting distracted, but I just had to know and I did want to share it. Let's go back to the real reality where we won the sprint 1-2 and see how qualifying goes. Qualifying for China has ended with Bottas taking pole in Aston. We are 3rd. Verstappen is 7th. Gasly is 6th. And as you can also see here, probably, we are not seeing Hamilton anywhere. And that is because I screwed Hamilton over by sending him out in what turned out to be 2 pretty terrible windows in Q2. You can already see that him being half a second off Hulkenberg is already a really, really bad thing. And being a full second off getting through is not really where you want to be, basically. So yeah, we put Hamilton in a little bit of a pickle here going into this race weekend. Now, with that said, starting 15th does have the benefit of the fact that we can just destroy one set of tires a bit early, undercut, and take it from there. But we are going to be running 15 kilograms overweight in this one. That is just, unfortunately, the reality of the situation. And, well, we could potentially mess around with the setup here to give him a little bit more of a confidence boost. Just accept that we're starting the pit lane. Yeah, I have 2 goods. Having 2 goods in the middle of the bar just is gambling. Unless you're using the sheets that tell you where everything should be. So let's not do that. I think what we can do here is we're going to go full attack on a soft immediately. We're going to use the 2 mediums that we have afterwards to kind of keep ourselves going. This way we also have a soft tire that we can use later on. And of course we'll just attack towards the end of the stint, so we're not really losing the 4 seconds here. And even so, these strategies are still going to be quite a lot quicker than anything else we can do. For Leclerc, because we are starting 3rd, the strategy here, honestly, is probably just our best bet. Just stick with what we have been given, run the mediums here, and probably aggressive. And this should be good enough. We'll just have to see if we want to try and undercut anyone else. And if we do, we'd probably want to start on the mediums and full attack. But this will do the job for us. And honestly, that is all I care about. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Hamilton will have a hard job ahead of him, but I trust that we can get back in the points maybe. 15 kilograms extra weight is going to make that a little bit harder, though, particularly in the beginning. So hopefully we can turn this around.
Chinese Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we
It's
go.
lights out and away we go. See, Leclerc does not have the best start as we are overfueled. Hamilton actually has a better start than Leclerc. We'll have to see if we can actually send it around the outside here of this Alba, and I think that is a done deal basically at this point, and it is. Leclerc also retains 3rd. Bottas has damage. I assume that is component damage. But yeah, for now, we are just going to allow things to proceed as planned, and then we'll see where we are once we get a little bit closer to our first pit stop. We are currently on the 8th lap of the race, and this is where we are going to be pitting Lewis Hamilton. As you can see, we destroyed these tires a couple of laps earlier than anticipated, but honestly, that isn't a bad thing because the DRS range up to 8 here, we just haven't been able to make any inroads in, and right now we are losing pace to it, but we've been running in it the entire time, and we just haven't been able to make anything happen. For Leclerc, the job has gone a little bit better, been able to keep up with first and manage tires compared to our rivals, which is great. But yeah, for Hamilton, tires have been eaten, and pitting and getting fresh ones are the call that we're going to go with here. 2.2 second stop. We are towards the back of the order here, but I think we are going to be able to undercut Gasly in particular. And if we, after the first set of pit stops, have caught up with Tsunoda, Verstappen, we're going to be very, very happy. Let's see how this goes. A bunch of cars are now pitting. Hamilton is coming down the main straight here, and we are jumping all of those. We take a look now how far behind we are in Gasly. We're still a good 28 seconds behind. And we do need another 3 seconds really to jump them. We haven't been able to jump Magnussen here. We haven't really been able to do that, as you can see. But as things stand here for Hamilton, we are going to deploy, try and make something happen. As you can see, also our powertrains are starting to take a beating, which is of course a problem. There's not really much I can do about that problem right now. It's just a occupational hazard. It's literally the best way I can describe the problem that we have with the powertrain. We might need to switch them out after this race, but for now, we'll just have to try and make the best out of a bad situation, as Leclerc is losing a little bit of position here to both Bottas and Norris. Piastri and Verstappen does come into the pit lane. As does Tsunoda. I don't think we are going to jump any of them, unfortunately. But, as mentioned here, we'll hopefully be able to get Gasly here down the line. Hamilton is slowly but surely moving a little bit upwards here. Fuel is the issue though, and any safety car is going to make our lives, again, pretty bad. But we'll have to try and see if we can manage it. We're getting close to Leclerc's pit stop now. We are kind of pushing one lap further than we would have liked here, but I think it is for the best. So we are going to allow Leclerc now to push and get into the pit lane. Hamilton, unfortunately, were unable to catch Gasly here and get that overtake done. But with that said, we have moved upwards a little bit here, and hopefully we'll be able to move further up in future. We will now have a chance to do some undercutting, or rather some overtaking, because we have gaps to work with, like Gasly here. We had a terrible pit stop here for Leclerc, 8 seconds. That is not what we needed right now. The rail left there just refusing to let go. And with that now, we basically have both of our drivers almost next to each other. And as I mentioned, 8-second pit stop here. We probably would have been running ahead of Russell. 2 seconds behind, well, 5 seconds or so behind Ocon and Verstappen. And we'd be able to get back to that train, particularly as we are running more aggressively right now. But yeah, that pit stop is going to make Leclerc's job way harder. We need to make our way through a potentially 3-car DRS train. That is going to make things a little bit tougher here for Charles. Particularly as we do have a fairly heavy car. Hamilton and Pichette are still fighting here. Yeah, for now, as mentioned, fuel will be a bit of a concern. But nonetheless, try and make the best that we can out of the second stint. What we feared has happened, has been an incident. Hopefully it will not be a safety car. Hulkenberg here has crashed with a V-carb. That looks like suspension damage maybe for both cars, nothing too serious. And apparently Norris has also had an incident here. Looks like there's no damage to the car, but he has picked up that little bit of a yellow damage mark there. So he's done something, but we haven't been told exactly what yet. Leclerc is moving further upwards here. We're now just 8 seconds off the lead. We are going to start going full attack very, very soon, kind of like we're doing with Hamilton here. We just want to destroy these tires a little bit. And honestly, it's going to be a rough here no matter how we want to do it. But we just have to try and make the best out of the situation. The extra weight is definitely slowing us down quite a bit compared to our rivals. And I can only pray that we will do good on the tracks where you almost do start with full fuel. But yeah, for now, Leclerc will keep on pushing, Hamilton will keep on pushing, and we'll prepare for our final set of pit stops. After Hamilton gets a clean stop here, he is down into 12th as Bottas' mechanical fault escalates. That's not great for us. But with Tsunoda, Piastri, Verstappen being the only cars really ahead of us that has pitted, and pit stops here taking about 20 seconds, we can probably still jump Gasly again as things stand. So we're not in the worst situation ever, and with Bottas here having picked up damage, he's not going to have the best race. I honestly wouldn't mind if he wins, because standings wise, it's not gonna mess with anything. Let's just put it like that. So yeah, having Bottas win here would actually be preferable to having Norris or Verstappen win, Ocon too for that matter. Leclerc right now has gotten into traffic, and honestly, I do want him to try and get by. I don't want to waste my tires being stuck behind another car if possible. Let's see if we can get past Ocon and Norris here, and if we can get a little bit of a gap here to those who have already pitted. That's going to be the hope and the dream. As we almost go 3 wide there, Leclerc moves up into second. With that, we're actually getting re-overtaken here because we couldn't make it past Norris. The damage there on Norris, it's not good for us to be stuck behind him. And it's also not good to do the corner in the way that Leclerc did, honestly, in the way that I do as well. So that is, that's not great. We are going to be pitting within a couple laps, so it's not really a huge deal. But I do want that confidence to be peak when we go into the pit lane. Leclerc now is going to be pitting on this lap, and I've also made the decision that we are going to go for a medium tire, similarly to what Hamilton is doing. Reason for that being that we'll have more chance of running full attack towards the end here. We are going to lose some positions to Piastri, who's already pitted, to Verstappen, who's already pitted. So if we can manage the medium tire and catch up to them, we're in with a really, really good chance there. And we aren't too far off, 10 seconds off Piastri basically, so we should be able to reel him in. Hamilton is back in the points, and as I mentioned here, Hulkenberg needs to pit, Russell needs to pit. And, well, Russell isn't really within our window just yet, but we are getting there. So Hamilton can still score some good points here. 10 laps to go here, and things are actually looking pretty good for us. Hamilton is currently up into 6th, 5 seconds behind in Norris and an Ocon here, who are kind of destroying the tires a little bit, and that is great news for us. We have a huge time advantage on both Verstappen and Piastri. And right now, Leclerc is reeling them in with about a second left without us doing anything special. So Leclerc's doing well. Ocon there, almost 2 seconds quicker that lap. So we might be able to use him to our benefit too. He might destroy those soft tires a lot quicker than anticipated. But yeah, we'll have to see what we can do with Hamilton. I don't think there's anything in particular we can do to help him other than just straight up push. But seeing how quickly this degrades, we probably do want to wait until there's 5 or 6 laps left before we hit that trigger. And particularly for Leclerc, we need to clear Verstappen now in order to chase down Piastri. And that could be bad also for Hamilton, because we might pull Ocon and Verstappen with us. So with Leclerc now actually kind of being perfectly situated, really, we're going to deploy, we're going to try and get by Verstappen, and we're going to try and create a bit of a gap. We do still have 6 kilograms of excess fuel. It's better than what we started with, but it's still not great. That is definitely slowing us down a little bit. We get the overtake done. We are kind of breaking free of DRS here, hopefully. If we can do that, we should be able to chase down Piastri with relative ease the last 7 laps. Put that back to neutral to save a little bit of energy. And for Hamilton, as I mentioned, we're not really gaining much right now on either Ocon or Norris. But they are destroying their tires, and we will have tire advantage towards the end. But let us prepare to start pushing. We might even take a look at what we can expect. We start going full attack. So this gap needs to be fit in here. And honestly, it kind of does. I think this is the time to start going a little bit full attack. Then we can slow down later on if we see the need. So with that said, let's start chasing. 6 laps to go here. Let's see if we can catch both the McLarens, basically. We've had yet another incident here that is causing us some problems in turn 1. It is Theo Pourchaire, who's had a car on the inside and been sent to the Shadow Realm. No idea who had the incident with. But I assume it is Sainz, as the Alpine is lacking half his front wing. Now, Hamilton has done a pretty good job here at reeling in Norris, but Norris has also reeled in Verstappen, and they are kind of DRSing off each other. But it does mean that we could secure a 4th place finish here. And Leclerc just now did pick up a gearbox issue. That is not what I need at this moment from Leclerc here. So we're just going to start deploying and pushing and try and create the gap to Piastri. We kind of save tire and energy for that purpose. And again, for Hamilton here, it's just catch up to Verstappen, catch up to Norris, try and get both of them overtaken. And I think Leclerc should be good. We'll save a little bit of energy in case he isn't. And I really don't want to use Hamilton's energy just yet. Hamilton still has 3 laps to go. Podium is almost within reach, 36.7. It's slower than other cars around us. In this case, just Norris, but I assume that is DRS related more so than anything else. And let's see now what we can do with Hamilton. Need to clear Verstappen immediately here. Verstappen is losing us so much time right now compared to Norris. And with that, we are by. We already gained over half a second on that straight. More like a full second going down that straight with DRS and energy. 2 laps to go. Catching Ocon here will be difficult. I think we managed our tires in an acceptable manner. And look at Leclerc's gap to Piastri. It's just growing. That one is a done deal, if you ask me. And honestly, I'm going to deploy for 2 reasons. If we can catch Norris here and get within DRS, it might be a little bit of a tough ask. I'm not going to lie. We might be able to catch Ocon by extension. But it looks like it's going to be a close one. Doesn't look like we got DRS. Oh, we did in fact get DRS. That is huge. With that overtake done. Getting a little bit closer to Ocon, but he's also pushing, of course. Looks like Hamilton just isn't going to get that one done for free. So we'll just speed up time a little bit here, see if we can stay ahead of Norris. I don't really want to deploy because we do need a little bit of energy. Deploy a little bit right here. Just stay outside of DRS of Norris, and that is a done deal now. Like so. Yeah, with that, Leclerc is going to finish first, even with us having run this race with 15 extra kilograms worth of fuel. Hamilton improves from 15th to 4th place. I think we can be happy with that, all things considered. And yeah, we do now have to consider next race weekend. Do we replace our parts? Is this when we start doing the part swapping in order to ensure that we can have maximum performance in the race weekends? And I think we are going to have to go back to that. But yeah, not a bad result. Honestly, not too far off a podium either for Hamilton. We extend our lead in the championship. Oscar does keep up somewhat well. Hamilton is getting involved as well. Constructors then a decent and healthy lead. And here's the thing, we need to maximize scoring potential wherever it can be found. Suspension here has been finished, and this is the basically 3rd iteration since the last one. I probably do want to make this one, but let's take a look here at what other designs we can do. I think I want one more, honestly, just to be on the absolute safe side here. Because once we finish, we're probably going to focus on other parts. Yeah, let's do one more before we start manufacturing parts. And there's 2 reasons why I want to do this. First and foremost, I want to get the most out of every upgrade financially. And if I wait 3 to 4 projects before I start manufacturing parts, I won't have a huge amount of spare parts that never will be used. And that is generally just why I do things like this. We're also going to get that new front wing in 9 days, which means we could rush one if it is a huge upgrade before we go into Miami. So let's just speed up those next 11 days and see if this is going to be an upgrade worth rushing for the Miami GP. There we go. Our new front wing has finished design. And if we take a look at it, it's going to be a sizable upgrade. 14, 7, 11. It's not bad by any means of the imagination. So I'm going to go ahead and maximize it. We're going to rush one for this race weekend and pray that it doesn't get exploded, basically. Let's get that underway. We've also gotten to the next CFD period. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let's just double check, that it is rearing time. And it is, in fact, time to design ourselves a new rear wing using CFD and wind tunnel time. Let us get that underway. Just like that. We're going to maximize. I kind of don't want to maximize DRS, I'm not going to lie. We might need to do high speed though. It's not wrong. Because the thing that we are lacking the most is high speed cornering. So doing this with the rear wing is potentially just what we have to do. Is 14% DRS effectiveness worth these sacrifices? Potentially later on. So for now, I'm going to do this one like this, because we are going to need to do another design afterwards. And then we'll see if that design is going to give us like 20% extra DRS effectiveness and no losses anywhere else. Because that way we might actually do a rear wing like that, purely just to give a little bit of that DRS effectiveness back. Because that is where we make overtakes. Under DRS, we saw it in China, and that is probably going to be the norm going forwards. I will rush this project because it is a CFD one. 18 days, let's get it started. Okay, I do believe also that we have a permanent damage to the gearbox here, so it'll be used for practice only until it has been, you know, destroyed. Driver development update, no updates for our drivers. We do have a couple of bad news. Stroll has deteriorated and Schumacher has also deteriorated. Is of course terrible news for any of their fans. We're going to go ahead and manufacture probably 5 more of these. That way we will have a decent amount in storage. I'm going to put this in car 1, which would be Leclerc. Leclerc is our championship leader at the moment, so we will be prioritizing him. We're going to have to min-max a little bit. He's going to get that new front wing. We're going to head to Miami. Let's see if we can continue our semi-good form. Sprint qualifying here in Miami has gone our way with Leclerc and Hamilton. Second and third, only beaten by the Ocon in the RB. Verstappen with what, once again, a terrible qualifying is, again, very, very promising news for us. We have put in new engines and new gearboxes for both cars, which is giving us a little bit of a speed buff. And as you can see, the Sunday, it's going to be very interesting because it's going to be raining. But with that said, around here, we're just going to stick to the same old, which is a light soft. It is just easier that way. And honestly, again, I don't know what I want to do in terms of over-under fueling for sprints. I'm just going to do 2 ticks alright for now. Maybe we should do 3. But yeah, we've already seen just how devastating excess fuel actually is. And the fact that we won a race last time with 5 kilograms extra in the car kind of tells you just how hard it would be to make a sprint win with 110 kilograms. Yeah, here we are. See some soft tire, some softs, some mediums. A healthy variety, if you will. And honestly, it's only it's not really much of a variety. It's just us and a couple other cars that has elected to use the soft tire initially here. With that said, good start for our boys. We have retained second and third. But now it's just push, burn up some fuel, and try and create a gap here into, in this case, Tsunoda. Let's see how the next few laps go. As Russell has had an incident here immediately.
So let's follow the action going into turn 12. Oh, and the car with a...
I think that is Russell out of this because that is rear wing damage, which you can see there, tiny hole in the rear wing. Yeah, that is going to make Russell's life around here absolute hell. And potentially could be a problem for the race itself, although there's going to be a new qualifying session, so it should be fine. But yeah, let's sit back, let's try and manage, and let's see how things look in probably 10 laps time. A second crash hit the sprint, and it is Mercedes on Mercedes violence.
With not much room to move. And not just one car involved.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And they'll have to pick themselves up.
They're basically running as close to each other as possible, and the rear car just locks up. That is pretty bad, and Porsche even picked up a puncture from that. But Ward is also getting closer to a puncture, so yeah, that puts the Mercedes boys out of contention here, although let's be fair, we didn't really expect much from them. Verstappen has worked his way up into third. We are still managing, and we are getting close to having 20 to 10% tire advantage with half the sprint to go here. So as you can imagine, things are definitely moving in our direction. Award with a 5-second penalty. With just a couple laps to go here, I didn't really need to get involved. Leclerc and Hamilton with the tire advantage alone basically the arrest away from Ocon and Verstappen. And we're currently just pushing tires so that we can save our energies, our engines a little bit. Maybe save 1%, you know, maybe save 1% of the durability. But we are on the final lap here. Leclerc is in the lead. Hamilton is second. And honestly, for this one, I'm not going to interfere. I genuinely don't care much who wins this sprint here. But it looks like Leclerc is going to be the one to pull the longest straw. And we have yet another one to in the sprints. Let's pray that this time I actually managed to qualify properly with Hamilton and that he isn't out in 15th. Qualifying has concluded here with less drama this time. Hamilton actually beat Leclerc, which is honestly the only piece of drama here, but they were pretty close, so I don't mind. Bottas once again finds pole position. Ocon is still competitive. Russell's in here, and somehow, well, Verstappen did not have a good one. Now, we are going to get rain here. The question is just how much and when. It's coming to be towards the end. Okay. I think, honestly, we just do this for this Leclerc here. I think that's the best bet. And honestly, this little rain towards the end is honestly... I know that I'm saying honestly a lot. I'm saying honestly a lot right now, but I genuinely do believe it. If we do... Wait a minute. Can I do this? Yeah, but it's 10 seconds slower. Okay. Let us cancel this so I can get a good idea of where it's going to start raining. Lap 41 is the estimation for both cars. Is it just going to run standard like this? That would be the best. Yeah, it seems like it. We're not going to save a lot of tire. So do it like this. And would it be quicker to do so for the chair here too? Would it be better to do it like that? It's honestly very similar in terms of pace, but you use less medium, which means medium is the better option. And yeah, adaptability is going to come into play here. FN is going to have nightmares, and if you don't know who that is, it's basically a reference to the driver championship thing I do. But yeah, I think Intis might go lap 36 here, but again, my weather center is so trash that I genuinely don't know. I think we're just going to have to start like this and just manage it live. Luckily, there isn't that much fuel you can overfuel here, just 7 kilograms. Hopefully, we can shed that before the rain arrives. And with that, let's just jump into Miami here.
Welcome back, everyone. Here we go with the Miami Grand Prix.
I see softs, I see a hard.
And away we go.
Okay, so the current leader is on hards. Well, the former leader is on hards. There's 2 cars on hard tires. There's some on softs. I assume hard tires are going to try and go the entire way. Piastri let Leclerc go. You were off track there. We say. But yeah, decent start here for our boys. I think, again, we're just going to have to try and get the overtakes done. Push tires once we get to lap 15, maybe. And then we'll run a medium until we actually end up raining. We could have a need here to pit around lap 35, 36. But adaptability is going to come into play. I'm interested to see how that's going to work. Ocon with 3 seconds gain basically on the first lap there. But we'll reel him in. I can guarantee it. As we have a full safety car. Sainz and Award has crashed. That is terrible news for me. That is terrible news for us.
Now there's an inviting opportunity there. And oh, that's obviously far from intentional.
Okay, that
There
is
was contact, and that won't do.
that's the Saints pedo right there. That sounds bad, but the Saints torpedo. Basically, could have taken out way more drivers. I'm not gonna lie. Saints with a deserved penalty for that one. With that said, the reason why any sort of safety car, virtual safety car, is bad for us is because, as you can see, our fuel levels are going up, which means we're going to be heavier. We're going to struggle as a result. And honestly, we might have to push the tires a little bit more aggressively also. Okay, what is the expectation now? Still lap 35, 36. And I guess I could try and do this. It's just too much of a gamble. It's a 10-second stop. We can gain it back by just running a little bit more attack-minded. And safety car should be in within a lap or two anyways. Yeah, just like that. So, yeah, I don't see a need to do anything fancy here. We have moved up. We're going to continue moving up here potentially right now. Hamilton up into second. Leclerc is probably going to follow very, very soon. Apparently, we weren't able to hold on to that, but it's a good attempt. Yeah, I think we just need to try and push here. We're now up to 8 kilograms, and as I mentioned, safety cars are the bane of our existence this season. They're actually very, very bad for us. We've had a second incident here. The second Alpine has had their own little incident, and that is revving damage. But I believe we also had an incident relating to one of our cars, as Hamilton has lost a lot of position pretty rapidly. He was running second. He's now 3 seconds behind everyone, but I don't see any damage. So whatever incident Hamilton got involved in hasn't negatively affected the car. But yeah, we do need to close the gaps here and just try and minimize the damage this race. I think it is time here to start just going attack for both Hamilton and Leclerc. Try and close down the top two there. They're using a lot more medium than we are, and I'd like to avoid getting undercut. As we see another yellow flag, as Lawson, I do believe, has had his own little incident. Let's say a new one. I don't think I've actually seen that one before either. There's been a lot of new ones lately. Yeah, Lawson 2 has crashed, and as you can see, with the lack of confidence that a lot of drivers have right now, we could definitely see more incidents in the future, and again, that's bad for us. So let's just destroy these tires as much as possible before someone creates a second safety car. It didn't take long. We've had another yellow flag here, another crash. Joe Manazzi has crashed again. He is going to cause safety car at one point. I can nearly guarantee it. And yeah, the initial damage railing wasn't enough. He needed a little bit more. We haven't really been able to do much, though. We are still running 4th and 5th here. And in terms of catching the cars in front, we aren't actually doing that. We're still going quite a bit slower than them. And that is bad news. Again, we just need to burn off this excess fuel. And once we do that, then we'll be a little bit more competitive. Leclerc has moved up in the lead here as Ocon has pitted. And that is kind of what we need to deal with here. We're just 12 seconds out of Bottas, who has already pitted. So destroying these tires, getting the front fresh set is going to be the key. But yeah, we are definitely not looking super promising right now in terms of where we are. I do want to leave Russell behind, though, so let's deploy a little bit of energy here for Leclerc. Russell on way older mediums than we are. And we are still going to keep on pushing here. Bottas is actually quite quick, though. 37.4, and that is a bit of a problem. Gas has picked up a mechanical fault. I still worry quite a bit that we will have more safety cars, but for now, again, we just have to try and manage this the best that we can. We're on lap 21 here, and this is when we are going to start considering pitting our cars. And honestly, I'm going to pit Leclerc here. We're going to get him onto a, well, fresh tire. We're going to have to move to a lot of traffic here, which is going to be a problem. I probably should have pitted a lot earlier to avoid it. And if we take a look here, 21-second stop. We are going to come out in basically 8th position for Leclerc. And potentially even further back for Hamilton here. So going along probably wasn't in our best interest, but we can now run aggressive. We can run more aggressive in terms of the tire usage. So hopefully we'll be able to make a little bit of a comeback. Leclerc out there in 7th place, 7 seconds off the lead here. Sorry, 17 seconds off the lead. 15 or so seconds off Russell and Ocon here. So we do have a little bit of work ahead of us. I'm not going to deny that. Tsunoda with a mechanical failure, Piastri, Gasly, Magnussen. A bunch of mechanical failures arriving all at once here. And as I mentioned, that is bad news, really. Because any sort of mechanical failure is just going to escalate into potentially safety cars. That is the concern. But it's going to make it easier to overtake right now. So let's give Leclerc a little bit of extra power to pass Tsunoda. Try and chase down the lead again. Rain is starting to approach right now. In 4 minutes time, it is going to start raining. But as you can see, the actual rain or intertiming is moving further away from us, even with that safety car. So we're actually going to go ahead and turn our tires to standard. We have a pretty significant tire advantage for everyone. And as you can see here, Bottas is now pitting again. And we should be able to beat him in the pit lane here. So all in all, if Ocon pits, we are suddenly in the lead. We have kind of put ourselves in a decent position here, even though Bottas does actually beat us out. I assume he's gone to a soft tire. He has indeed. Again, I don't mind Bottas winning. If we can keep up with him, great. If we can't, it's still okay. So we're just going to try and manage our tires here. We're going to see if we can stick with Bottas and everyone. And we'll have to see if anyone else decides to pit before the rain arrives. Verstappen has also pitted. He's right behind us. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird situation because it is going to definitely be an adaptability race now until probably lap 41, 42. Let's see if we can make the most out of it.
Now we're through the last turn here. It's certainly
Great overtake by Charles there, and it has gone pretty well so far. The question right now is, do I start pushing? Ocon is at 37% tires. We're definitely getting him. Bottas is at 60. We have Russell on basically very, very warm tires here. We can start being a little bit more aggressive because as you can see, even if we run aggressive, estimate to get to lap 44 maybe. So we can tune both our drivers up at least one notch. And that should help us clear Ocon here. That's going to be the key. And once we've cleared Ocon, it's getting back those 5 seconds that Bottas currently has on us. Honestly, I think going full attack here will be worth it because it is 50mm on track. It is going to go Intus right here, I think. That's the thing. It's going to go Intus here. It's going to go lighter again. So I don't know when is going to be the best time to jump on the Inter tire here. That's the thing. We are in a very, very peculiar situation where jumping on the Intus too early might be bad for us. Gasly's fault is escalating. We see Norris in the pit lane. Has he been the first driver here to jump on the Inter tire? He has indeed. We'll take a look at him and see what kind of degradation we can expect. But yeah, I am pretty worried right now on how, or rather when, the correct time is to jump in the pits. Bottas thinks it's now. Russell thinks it's now. Ocon thinks it's now. So what I think we do here is that we are going to have to just respond. We are going to get one driver in on this next lap, and then we're going to get one driver in on the following, which puts us a little bit on backbone, but 61mm, I still think that is too early to come in. I'm not going to lie. It's not really going up super quick either. And if it does drop here back to, again, 50mm, it's going to be really, really bad for everyone who's pitted early. Basically, the tires will degrade incredibly quickly. But yeah, now as we're getting close to one, it's probably best to pit. We might screw Hamilton over a little bit here. I'm not going to lie. Slow stop there too from Leclerc. Perfect. I agree.
Sorry about that.
And yeah, Bottas just jump us there. Are we going to get jumped by Russell as well? No. Maybe. Maybe not, but yeah. It's a bit of a weird one. Definitely best to get Hamilton in here. He's going to lose a lot of time right now. We have a red flag. We are saved.
Stop. Red flag.
Our chair has saved Hamilton here.
Look at the Mercedes. The car makes contact, and that won't do the car.
It's going to be a very expensive weekend for Mercedes. But yeah, 153. It should be Intus all the way till the end. Let's just slap some fresh Intus on. Go full attack. Try and have Leclerc jump Hamilton. Sorry, have Leclerc jump Bottas, not Hamilton. Have Hamilton stay ahead.
Pause in this race. We are all set and ready once more.
I need a great start from both my boys.
It's lights out. And away
Come on,
we
boys.
go.
I trust you can do this. I trust you can have that beautiful start that I really, really need right now. Not quite, but acceptable enough. We're holding our positions. Oh, Leclerc is actually getting involved here. Maybe we are getting what I asked for. We are indeed getting what I asked for. Oh, never mind. Wasn't brave enough there. Bottas slides through. And with that, yeah, it's actually gonna drive towards the end there. Oh, this is gonna be rough. Is there gonna be basically a statement made here that we might need to go for the drives at the end? I think we go full attack for now. Once we start burning the tires, that's when we turn it down. Maybe go aggressive here for Leclerc because those Inters are burning pretty quickly. It is 105 degrees though, so it's not really a big concern. We are just gonna have to try and hold on to our positions right now. Hamilton did get a little bit of a freebie, which I do appreciate. And you can already see just how much the dirty air here is affecting Leclerc compared to Hamilton. Go on, get him. We could still have a safety car. We could still have other things causing some delays in this one. Causing some mayhem. But for now, we should be good. Tsunoda's mechanical fault is escalating again. I believe that is a major one then. Oh, are we get ready for a deep send here from Hamilton? Sorry, from Leclerc. Not yet. Not quite yet. We have plenty of energy. We have plenty of fuel. Temperature is way too high though, and honestly, we're getting there with Hamilton too right now. I'm tuning both of them down to aggressive purely to ensure that we don't destroy these tires before too early. That's a good way to lose a wet race. And even with aggressive here, the temperature is still going up. Leclerc is in trouble as it stands. We are going to put Leclerc on always defend. We're going to put Hamilton on always defend. Since it is wet racing. Always defend is going to slow you down. But it should give you the best chances of holding the driver behind. And I'm going to have to be honest here. First and third. Bottas in second is fully acceptable. To me, at least. What isn't is what just happened there. Where Leclerc did get overtaken by Russell. Russell is destroying his tires though, so we might be able to get that back. Put him back to neutral so he doesn't lose time. I am very curious how the end of this is going to look like. That's why we're showing the entire thing. It's just 11 laps remaining. It is going to get dry towards the end. Which could lead to opportunities here. Yeah, even just running aggressive is burning these tires. I think we deploy and try and get past though on the straight here. We can do that. We can hurt both the Red Bull's tires, which will make my life a lot easier. Yeah, with just a little bit of deploy. That should be a non-issue here. And honestly, Leclerc is even catching up to Bottas now. 10 laps to go. Gonna still have to manage some tire. We're definitely on the right path here. Hamilton still squabbling with Bottas. Bottas is sending it, but you can already see just how badly Bottas's tires are being shredded here from running close to Hamilton. And honestly, if Bottas gets by, all we need to do is just deploy that battery that we have saved up. And honest for Hamilton here, just running full attack is probably going to be the key also. Get a little bit more freedom. I do want to get Leclerc past Bottas if I can. But at the same time, I'm happy to stay where I am. We are already running these tires a little bit too hot. If Leclerc gets by, do I do team orders here to make the championship a little bit easier? I don't think so. I don't think we're there where we need to min-max completely just yet, but we're definitely getting there. 109 degrees right now. You can see that Bottas has suffered. We're gonna try and push this this lap here. 5 laps to go. Basically, if we get by, great. If we don't, we'll have a couple laps that we can recharge the battery, back off a little bit, cool the tires ever so slightly before we try again. That is basically the logic here by using the energy right now. Yeah, it looks like slipstream, I guess, from Hamilton is just a little bit too strong. But let us just back off for now. Honestly, again, Leclerc just isn't giving up. But we just don't have what it takes to get by. I think I'm going to deploy here with Hamilton, really. Try and get a little bit further away from Bottas. Maybe that's what's needed. A little bit less slipstream. And we do need to run a little bit of top up here. It's just a few laps remaining. Let's go full attack. If the tires explode, they explode. Or rather, let's go harvest for a lap before we do that. Hamilton 2 right now in clean air is cooking his tires and he's running full attack. So you can imagine how bad it would be for anyone else at the moment. You can see that just a little bit of charging, just how badly that affects your lap times. Rain has stopped, and this is when it's going to start drying out, and that drying out could be terrible for us. Go on, Leclerc. Use all your time to catch up, and then we'll use all of the battery to try and get by. 2 laps to go. Are we going to have DRS in the final lap? I don't think so. Giovinazzi, mechanical fault. We can see all the mechanical faults down here. So Tsunoda still has fastest lap with the mechanical fault on board. This should be our chance to get by. Although we might get the DRS a little bit later. And it does look, in fact, that we did pull that off. Up into second place here for Leclerc. Bottas overtaken. And if we can just protect ourselves in these last couple of corners. Bottas might get the DRS on the final back straight here. On this lap. Because it is actually drying up and just about enough that it can make that happen. We're going to deploy. We're going to try and just create a little bit of a gap here.
And track conditions when you can.
Track conditions are dry. Temperature is going to go even higher. I don't care at the moment. Get out of the way, Giovinazzi. Please. You're a problem. Tsunoda has a mechanical failure now that has put him out of the race, I believe. Gasly just retired. Seems like I'm not the only one who's going to be struggling with engines this season. And we have secured a 1-2 finish here. That was a little bit harder than it needed to be, but a great result. Bottas taking 3rd is something that we will take. Verstappen in 4th, Russell 5th, Ocon 6th. That is very much acceptable, even with the safety car. But they threaten us. The red flag saved Hamilton at the very least. Potentially also Leclerc, if I'm honest. So we'll take that. A little bit of divine help. 30-point lead now for our driver. On Verstappen. Constructors, we have a very, very healthy lead. But we'll have to see if we might get caught up to once we get to tracks where we have to overfuel a little bit more. Miami is very kind in that regard. There's not a lot to overfuel. China is very similar too. Let's hope we can minimize the damage on other tracks that aren't as kind. But with that said, we are done, I think, for today. Unfortunately, just the 2 races, 2 sprint weekends out of the way. 2 very, very great results from both of those. And we might actually be seeing the end here of the maximum weight challenge. And maybe we'll experiment a little bit more in the future with max weight sprint races where we have 80 kilograms worth of extra fuel. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry that it's taken me so long. I'm probably going to try and go back to more the usual types of content that I make. 2, 3 let's play / long form videos like this one, and maybe 3 or 4 guides for different games during the week, because I've been way too ambitious with what I wanted to do with V-Rising, what I want to do with Schedule 1. I recorded some footage, and I just don't have enough time to sit down and edit into a comprehensible video. I wanted to make it as a kind of a get to know the game, understand it before I release guide content for it. But I think I'm just going to start making guides and then maybe make some Let's Plays on those games later on. We'll see. Sorry for the babbling here at the end. I just want to explain what's been going on. Again, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.